As e-cigarettes become more popular here in the United States, and as they've now been on the market for a little over 10 years, we're finally starting to get some scientific studies back showing that these things are not as safe as originally thought. Joining me now to talk about what's happening is Scott Hardy with Top Class Actions. And Scott, based on my little intro right there, I can promise you the angry comments have already started on our channel here. But we have to be real and we have to be honest. And we are seeing a lot of very troubling scientific, peer-reviewed information coming out about the dangers of e-cigarettes. Tell us what's going on.
Sure. So right now, it's been well publicized how dangerous vaping is, even though people seem to think that they're just inhaling air. And because of that, we have three separate groups of litigation going on right now. We have one group that are representing underage minors or that got addicted to nicotine because they were using Juul products and vaping. We have another group that are now suing Juul because they're suffering lung, pulmonary, and cardiovascular problems where they are having major problems. You have people going to the hospital for collapsed lungs because they're vaping. And then three, you have another group that are representing those who suffer a nicotine overdose and are having seizures because they're vaping so much nicotine in their system. They think it's safe. Oh no, in one little Juul pod, as you and I have discussed before, you've got an entire pack of cigarettes. So if you suck through that, then you can, your brain and your body has a hard time processing it. And as you touched on, it's become such an issue with young people who just still don't think is a problem. In some of our articles that we have linked, we have some studies that show what middle schoolers and what high schoolers think they're actually vaping. The majority, even in high school, think they're vaping just flavoring. Then a small majority say, oh yeah, we actually know that we're vaping nicotine, big deal. But when you go into the 8th graders, they actually, only less than 15% of them think that they're actually vaping nicotine. So you have a lot of kids that are getting hooked on these products and are suffering consequences, severe consequences.
And what's really interesting about this as well is that when we're talking about some of these issues that we're seeing, especially the heart problems, the high blood pressure, the lung issues, those are happening in people using the nicotine pods and people using the non-nicotine pods. So if anyone is out there saying, well, I have nothing to worry about, I'm not using the nicotine, I'm not getting that, really addictive, dangerous stimulant, well, guess what? The peer-reviewed science is still out there saying you're still at a greater risk of a heart attack, you're at a greater risk of pulmonary problems than somebody who does not smoke or vape. Now, let's be totally clear here, too. I do believe at this point, obviously, that vaping would be safer than smoking a traditional cigarette. There's hundreds upon hundreds of deadly chemicals in an actual cigarette. But we have to be very careful, and I think the people who get angry about this and make these comments saying we're in the pocket of big tobacco, they need to understand that they have to stop making the claim that these things are harmless. Peer-reviewed scientific articles have proven it wrong. And to deny that is to deny science itself. That is not okay. That is not something we endorse here. And of course, I happen to work for Mike Papantonio, the guy that basically helped spearhead those lawsuits against big tobacco. To assume or to insinuate in any way that we're in their pocket is pretty ridiculous here. But again, well, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, that's the thing. For someone to say, you're in big tobacco's pocket, excuse me, well, Juul, one of their big minority shareholders, is big tobacco. They bought in. So guess who's in big tobacco's pocket? Juul, the vape guys themselves, not us. So they want vape to succeed because they've invested a ton of money in it. Give me a break.
Well, and I think a lot of the issue too is, we see these headlines come out. We've seen so many illnesses, mystery illnesses, they're still calling them, just in the last few weeks from vaping. But a lot of that has to do with the fact that we're still not even regulating this in any kind of meaningful way. There are no standards. There are no standards right now as to what can or cannot go into vape juice. They don't exist. I have been through the FDA's website. I have gone through every single page trying to find anything where it says what can or cannot go in there. There's vague regulations, but there are no lists. There are no banned toxic substances. So yes, until we start regulating this properly, we're going to see more problems. We're going to see more hospitalizations, and we're going to see more deaths, because this is an industry that's now been around for over a decade that somehow escaped without any kind of regulatory oversight whatsoever.
Yeah, and it's finally catching up. It's sad that we can see some kids die from vaping-related illnesses, and now the Trump administration gets involved and is trying to shut down some of the flavorings and that kind of thing. A lot of kids die from gun violence, but we can't do anything about that, I guess. But hey, we can get in charge, get involved with vaping, and definitely stop that right in its tracks. We'll see.
Everybody, please follow the links in the description of this video. There's links to the scientific reports. There's all kinds of information out there that is verifiable. Find out what's really happening with these devices. Again, the links are in the description of this video. They take you to Top Class Actions, the Juul Pod page, the nicotine overdose page. It's all right there. Please study up on this and understand that while it may be safer than traditional smoking, to call it safe is seriously not okay. Scott Hardy, Top Class Actions, always appreciate your time.
Great talking to you too, Farron. Thank you.
Every year, 1 million hernia surgeries are performed in the United States. Unfortunately, some mesh implants that are used in these surgeries have caused complications, including infection and organ damage that led to surgeries to correct those problems. If this has happened to you, learn more about the hernia mesh lawsuit by going online to hernia.law or call us for a free consultation about your legal rights.